Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Greg's Garden and Worm Farm, coming to you here in July on the 23rd with David Tice. David Tice is with us because they are producing a video, a movie about grid down. In fact, right now, the working name of that movie is Grid Down, No Second Chance, which is pretty apropos. No second chance. People just don't realize the risk that we're taking here. And furthermore, they're kind of still playing around with the name. They may change the name. One of the other names consideration is In the Dark, America's Loss of Power. I kind of like No Second Chance better myself. So, David, tell us about yourself and tell us about this video you're doing, and we'll show a quick promo so people get a sample of it here, and we can talk about it a little bit more.
Okay, so I'm a entrepreneur and actually a money manager. I used to manage the Prudent Bear Fund for about 12 years between 1996 to 2008. And so I've been a bit of a Cassandra, warning investors about an overvalued stock market and about too much credit and about problems in the economy to come. I've also been a geopolitical junkie, and I've been worried about China for a long time. So when there's been all this talk about China is going to be our ally and our friend, and Russia is okay, we can cozy up to Putin, you know, I've been nervous about this for a long time. So I've actually been nervous about EMP for some time. I've actually owned a very, very old car because of low electronics. I actually have been worried about a event. And I'm a big fan of Jeff Nyquist, who writes a blog, who is a great geopolitical junkie who understands how China and Russia might be working together. So this is very much a passion project for me. I came to find this film that Patrea Patrick, who is the director of the film, had been working on for a few years and had unfortunately run out of money and energy for it. And I just injected myself in the project and became a partner about February of this year. And we're going to get it out sometime in September before the election. It's meant to be a nonpartisan approach, but we are warning people about the danger of EMP. Our intent is to provide some fear, some outrage, then a little hope, because there are products available that can fix this, as well as some initiatives that show this can be resolved, and then more outrage that nothing has been done, and then a call to action. And we hope to get Americans to rise up and say, we've got to do something. And in fact, we have a letter writing campaign inside if you buy the documentary, you will have access to software to be able to write 8 different letters to your state legislators, your congressman, your 2 senators, your chairman of your state utility, your Adjutant General of your National Guard unit, as well as your FEMA emergency director in your state. So we're excited about being able to outreach, and we have a clause in that letter that said, we viewers of this movie are, in the words of Howard Beale from the famous movie Network, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. So we're trying to create outrage. And really, your viewers, Greg, are lucky to have you to be alerting them to, you know, the issues and the danger of this. We want them to become fellow patriots and supporters of ours to help spread the word.
Oh, very good. Very good. A lot of people really don't appreciate just how grave the risk of this grid down is. A lot of people have no appreciation for what could happen at the nuclear power plants. Everybody worries about the reactor cores going down. And it's not even a reactor core. Fukushima's nothing. It's a cakewalk. The real problem is in the spent fuel rod pools. And I've covered that in a video in the past, and I'll share that with you soon here, David. As you know, I've been very proactive in this movement. I'm here too. power grid defense conferences. And I also, on my videos, I quite often give links to people to contact the Congress. And I will put a link, I'll put links below to that for the phone numbers. And also, you can track bills through Congress too with the right websites. I'll put a link to that. So I'm always calling to action. And sometimes I take on specific causes. There was a campaign that Command Sergeant Major Michael Mabee was running. I gave people links for what to do in that action campaign. And I really want to promote your video. I want people to see it when it comes out and to take the action and use the software you're talking about. So in a moment, I'll show a trailer from your video here. I can share it where people can see if that's all right with you. And what I'd like to do before this, I'd mention if people want to support my channel, like I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on this topic and other topics, because the proposition of this channel is to help people survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. And these are all things that are greatly at risk right now. And so I tell people subscribe to my, yeah. I tell people to subscribe to my channel if they're not already subscribed. Click the update notification bell, bang the bell, and then click all when the options come up. But you also do with the algorithms have to go back and double check, because they don't really prefer sometimes channels that tell you what's really going on. So I try to do that. I have a lot of my videos are all about keeping your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. There's so many things coming at us. I cover things going on in China and Iran, between China and India, the Galwan Valley incidents, a whole lot of that stuff. I cover these things. I talk about the 9-dash line. I've not been exactly a friend of China's, if you know what I mean. Well, I have no problem with people of China. I have no problem with people anywhere. It's the governments. It's the tyrannies that run some of these people. There's good people everywhere on earth. Everywhere. Good, smart people, good hearts. Anywhere you go, people are people. But people in a lot of places are subjected to governments that are tyrannies, that are not free. And I think here in America, we've got one of the last holdouts of freedom, and it's the flames are flickering. They're trying to snuff it out right now. So we've got to maintain our freedom, our vigilance. And I'm actually forming another organization right now to work that. So we might collaborate on that, but I really do promote our freedoms and liberties. That document is supposed to protect. I say supposed to protect. So a lot to cover here. Also, for those that want to support my channel and support me and my efforts, you can do that. As David just pointed out here, you've got a lot of reason to be prepping right now. And he was talking about the economy. He came in from the economic side of it. Lord knows with all the shutdowns we've had, the economy is suffering. There's other stresses on the economy. Food prices are going to go skyrocketing with all the floods in China and the demand on food. They're going to be buying real heavy. So go to prepwithgreg.com. Get $100 off for a 4-week supply of long-term storage food, which has good choices in it. You know, there's a variety of foods that you can get through that, and it lasts 25 years. $100 off. Buy several of them. But you can also click the link in prepwithgreg.com and go in to my Patriot Supply website through that link, and that still supports my channel if you use that link. And you can get all kind of prep and supplies there. And you need to be growing your own garden. You need to be growing your own food as much as you can. And I highly encourage people to buy heirloom seeds that you can replant and get the same plants back. And you can get the best source of those is True Leaf Market, and I'll have a link to that. Also, you can get supplies to grow food in your house if you're in a town with microgreens. And I got videos on my channel telling you how to do that, telling you how to garden. And I also talk about wild edibles. You better know how to forage, you better know how to sanitize and purify water. All that's on my channel. So check my videos out. Just click videos in the upper left and scroll down through everything, and you can see them all there. So with that said, we've got another video to watch, and I'm going to do a share here, and we will go in and look at this trailer for this video they're promoting. I got to make sure I grab the right link here. Give me just a moment. I think I'm there. That's not it. Hang on. I grabbed the wrong thing. Give me a second there. There it is. Open this up. All right, so everybody can see this video. I will play it now.
Electrical power. Our world, our lives are built around it. Our children, our families, and our loved ones all depend on it. But what if everything suddenly went dark?
Imagine you wake up in your home. It's total darkness. There's no electricity. People are running around trying to take care of themselves. Who has a gun? Who's got food? Who's going to survive? Who thinks that you have something in your house that they want? How are you going to feed your kids? This is total catastrophe.
Our electric utilities and key government agencies should be protecting us from this vulnerability, and they're not.
If the electricity grid goes down, you're back in the 1880s for the electricity.
What's the weak link? What's the Achilles heel? This is our Achilles heel.
Within a couple of days, maybe 10 days, these refrigerators and the emergency powers in the hospitals run out. All the medicines go bad, all the people on life support die.
If our grid goes down, you can't cook, you're not going to eat, you can't run any of your medical supplies, you can't talk on your phone, you can't take money out of a bank. If this happens, the system stops.
This is a catastrophic threat waiting to happen. And with North Korea, China, and Russia all understand it and are all working for it.
They know that we're vulnerable in these areas. The American people don't, but terrorist groups know it.
It became a highly classified matter. Enemies have this information. American people have a grid down scenario. It's a protracted blackout with substation transformers destroyed for months or a year. Multiple analytical reports from the EMP Commission have been presented to Congress indicating a high risk from either a massive solar disruption or an enemy EMP or cyber attack. Rebuttals from the electric utilities have been scientifically disproven, but they continue to effectively fight any progress being made.
This is a fundamentally different thing than having a blackout that lasts for 2 days. When you have a high likelihood that over the next 20 or 30 years, something this consequential could happen, there has to be a sense of urgency at blocking it from occurring, because if it does occur, it could literally end civilization as we know it.
All right. That's really interesting there, David.
Yeah. So Patrea, Patrick, the director and my partner, is trying to come into the call.
Yeah, all right. Hang on. I don't see it. They admit. I think something's going to play. Let me go back to that. Okay. Pardon me. I should see it in the mid screen if she's trying to get in here,
Yeah.
but I'm not seeing that. Usually when somebody tries to come in, I will get a admit sign come up. So you might tell her to try again. It might be she tried it while I was playing that. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah.
I had this screen minimized. Tell her to try again.
That one.
So for the viewer, Patrea is the person who initiated this video project. And David has come in and gave her support to keep it going. It costs a lot of money to develop a video, a lot of money. So we got to be thankful these people are doing what they're doing to bring this message to us.
In fact, one thing we're doing is Patrea put a lot of sweat equity and a lot of her own money into it. And then we've also been adding to the film and updating it and adding some more components to it. But we have a crowdfunding campaign going right now with Kickstarter, and we would like to bring in a little bit of money to professionally finish the film as effectively as possible and to pay for some marketing to get it out. And so we actually have some, you can pick up a baseball cap with Grid Down on it or a t-shirt, and we have some other prize gifts available for support.
Do you have a website that's got the links for the products, the gifts, and the Kickstarter?
If you go just to Kickstarter.com and then look up Grid Down, you can find it. And please follow the film on our website. The website is griddowndoc.com, and we have a survey. We'd love you to take the survey and vote on your favorite title. We'd love you to follow the film. We have a blog area where I put up a lot of information supporting our premise. And then there's also a community area where you can be involved. And we'd love a lot of people to be involved and make that community area a very active hub.
All right, very good, very good. So, yeah, I'm going to share those links. If you want to just email me those links, I will add them into the notes for this video, and that will help promote what you're doing there. I don't see any note from Patrea. I'm just checking my email. So like I said, she might have tried to come in while I was playing the
yeah, I'm texting her right now, and she should be trying.
Yeah, so for everyone's benefit, what you saw was a trailer to the film they're developing. And this film, the intention of it is to get the word out, the message out about this and spread it to the public wide. I know a lot of people say, hey, it'd be great if the grid goes down because then we'll have all the people doing this and, you know, a lot of the other social control. But the sad part is that, and I've had people, well, I got bullets and beans, I'll be good up in the mountain. No, you won't. You're going to fry. When you consider that there's about 300 times more radioactive material in the spent fuel rod pools, I'm not even worried about the reactors. That's nothing. The spent fuel rod pools have 300 times more radioactive material just waiting for the lights to go out and go up in smoke. In the United States, 300 times more than all the nuclear warheads on the planet, at least the ones we know of. There's allegations that China's numbers are way off, that they have a lot more. You know, they've been claiming they had 300 for the last several decades, but we see evidence of what looks like perhaps underground launch bases out in the desert of China that we don't know what that stuff is. We don't know what they got out there. They've got a network of strange tunnels all over the place. So there's a lot of mysteries in the world, and China is not known for being an open society to share with us and tell us everything they're doing. As we know, they were so open and so loving and that they decided to have a little bonfire and burn all their documents there in Texas, right? Their consulate.
Yeah, boy, that's crazy. And I do believe that China and Russia have a master plan. I've actually had a high-ranking defector from the GRU, which is comparable to the KGB, in my living room, you know, talking about some of these issues, along with Peter Vincent Pry, you know, the preeminent authority on EMP. And this defector, his name's Stanislav Lunov, talked about a master plan between Russia and China to bring down the United States. And I believe that plan is still intact. And a lot of people have said, gee, you crazy preppers have been worried about this forever. It's never going to happen. But these states will take their time, you know, waiting for the right opportunity. And that's the issue.
All right, Patrea is joining us. Hello, Patrea. You gonna let us see you?
I'm trying to get that going. So hold on a second.
All right.
Okay. Share video. All right. Good morning.
Leah Patrick, our filmmaker and patriot who, you know, put this whole thing together, that gave me the opportunity to come in and work with her. And we're very appreciative of her, you know, taking the time and effort and sweat equity, you know, over a number of years to get this issue in front of people.
Patrea the Patriot. I like that.
Hey, I hadn't quite thought of it like that, but that sounds good.
Well, hey, I like alliteration. My channel name is Green Greg's Garden and Worm Farm. I got another called Galactic Greg's. So, yeah, I always like alliteration. But anyway, so what inspired you to do this video? We just shown the trailer for it, and David and I have been talking a bit. So tell us what inspired you to do this.
Well, I have been doing films for a while, and across one of my connections, this information came to me about how vulnerable the grid is, and that no one was really talking about it. No one was really taking action about it, except a few groups that were running up against just a block in getting any protection done. And it's been known for a long time because this book, Brittle Power, had come out years ago. So this was not new information, but the fact that it was really hidden from the public made it a devastating, a devastating process for the American people to not know this because of what could occur. And it wasn't just from one area. There were quite a few aspects that when brought, that could bring down the entire grid. And once people realize this, I think they'll be outraged. But that was the job that I felt was necessary, was to get enough of the information together in a pertinent way that could make a great film that would get people the information without them having to spend all the time to really, really understand it. Just get a basic understanding that, hey, I did all the work for you. You just now have to understand this information and share it with other people and push for protections.
Amen.
So those protections are out there now, and they have been getting better and better, but the opposition seems to get better and better as well. They have a lot of money and a lot of lobbying power.
That's the problem. They got a lot more lobbying power than we do. I've chaired 2 power grid defense conferences, and I've been very active in this community trying to get the grid hardened. And I consider it to be practically criminally negligent, the fact that nothing has been done to fix our grid. And I do have one of the earlier books also was Dr. Peter Pry's book, Blackout Wars. And I've had him on my channel. I've had him here to Alabama 3 times. Peter Pry is a friend of mine. And I also got him on one of my sister channels, the Leak Project, which got him some good exposure. So we've been working hard to get this grid hardening. In fact, Peter Pry and Dr. Steve Nixon and I all went down and briefed the EMA director of Alabama in Montgomery. And we also had the head of the Public Services Commission there, Twinkle Kavanaugh, and the Special Projects Coordinator for Governor Kay Ivey. We've really been pushing this on the national and state level hard. And that's why I'm glad you guys have come out with this, or coming out hopefully with this video, because we need all the tools in our tool bag we can to get word out to people. People just don't appreciate how crucial it is. And even within our power grid community, a lot of people don't appreciate the gravity of what it means if the nuclear power plants run out of power. It's not just the reactors, and I've mentioned this a moment ago with David, are like a cakewalk. It's a Sunday school thing. It's nothing. Spent fuel the spent fuel pod pools have far greater risk, because those spent fuel rods have 300 times more radioactive material than all the nuclear warheads on this planet. All just waiting for the light. I'm talking about the ones in America, just waiting for the lights to go out and go up in smoke, because that burns on contact with air. And I've got a video I will email to you where I show the actual test results from Sandia National Laboratories showing that that is indeed the case. I've had people arguing me against that. But I've got the test data. I know it's happened. I've got the actual PDF files, all the papers and such. So we know this is a potential that's, even within our power grid community, that's not fully appreciated. So I'm trying to get the word out to that, because a lot of people think, I would just go back to the 1800s, no big deal. No, it's far worse. It's far worse.
It's frightening. And that was one of the things that just was a shocker to me, to realize without power that those nuclear power plants rely on the power grid. People think, oh, well, the nuclear power plants give us power, but they need to have power to be able to stay cool. And once those go down, there are so many nuclear facilities that we would be devastated in this country. We would be probably all trying to evacuate at once if we even knew, if you even had a rad detector. I have a rad detector. So it kind of looks like a phone, and it's about $500. So it's not something everybody can afford, but it tells like what the radiation in your area is. Well, if those things went off, those nuclear power plants, we would be so irradiated. I don't think any other country would even let us in. So it's not even a matter of escaping. Where would we go if Canada would say, hey, we see the problem there, we're not letting you in, and you know, what are you going to do? And where would just, how could this country function with that? Let alone no power, no hospitals, and all the other domino effects just from the grid going down. But having the nuclear radiation would just destroy this place forever, and it goes by wind. We see that we already are getting Fukushima over here and have been. It's not stopped. And so it's a very scary prospect. And David and I are working so hard to get this out to the people, but in a way that it's not just a frightening aspect, that there is something that can be done. There are things that we need to do and need to push, but it's an exciting film just to understand this from just a regular aspect, even if the sun was to do this, because you can have a CME, or if it's an enemy. What we're really trying to explain is that this is not just a normal blackout like we might have in New York, which is usually a power overload. So that's what we're used to, and that's what we think, oh yeah, the lights will come back on. But in this instance, when someone is particularly said, I want to take the grid down, or something is like a CME would come and knock the grid down, what is happening is you're melting those transformers that run and are only, they run the whole power substations. And if they are hit by something that actually destroys them, so they will not come back up. That is something that has to be all of a sudden manufactured. I could explain it like, if I was to give you a jump on your car, if you had a dead battery, I can bring your car back up with my car who has a good battery. But if I take a laser beam and shoot your engine, there's no jump in the world. Your engine's fried, what we call fried. And if that happens by enemy attack or by an a CME, EMP, which are very easy to do, and we're expecting a CME, we're way overdue for one of those, and we just need to protect the grid against that. But if those things were to happen now, we don't have protection enough on the grids to make these huge transformers in this country now. That is a big problem. We stopped making, we know we stopped manufacturing a lot of things. Well, that was one of the main things. We started basing that over in other countries to make those transformers for us. So there's a waiting list for those.
So Greg, could I just speak directly to your viewers for a second?
Sure, absolutely.
One thing that I'd love your viewers to get behind us, and I know a lot of us have been talking about this for a long time, but now there needs to be a systematic, massive effort to spread the word. And we think this film and our website, you know, due to some new technology, you know, make it easy, where just 2 or 3 mouse clicks, you can send 8 letters, and then you can add your own outrage to these letters. But it needs to be easy for people. We know people are in an ADHD world. We know that people would rather concentrate on optimism and not pessimism. But there's actually, this is not just a scare video like, what do we do? There is a action plan, and we are going to outline that at the end of the film. But the most important thing is we have to create a movement. We have to create a groundswell. And therefore, every viewer needs to send, you know, these links with an inspiring narrative coming from their heart, saying, read this, and go to our website at griddowndoc.com and watch the trailer and subscribe and pay for the video ahead of time and be ready when it launches. But we need to start that campaign now. It needs to be massive. We're going to have, you know, a Facebook initiative. We're going to, you know, pay for some consultants to get this out, but we need, you guys on the ground that are aware of this to really take action and take some risk and, with some of your relationships and say, this needs to be taken care of now and this can be fixed. Let's do it. Peter Pry talks about the Manhattan Project, where we ended up coming up with an atomic bomb before the Germans, and it essentially saved the country. We need that kind of a Manhattan Project now, but the Congress has been frustrated. There's a lot of EMP warriors that have been frustrated, but what we need now is the American public. And so it starts with us.
Well, you're exactly right. What we've got is a situation where the correct laws have been passed. We've got the executive orders in place. We've got the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, has language in it. There's language out there in the legal structure to make this happen. The problem is that the agencies, which we might refer to as deep state, the agencies are absolutely dragging their feet, and the industry associations that work with them. The agencies like the FERC and their industry counterpart, NERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and the National Electric Reliability Corporation, and EFRI. There's other organizations like that that are just dragging their feet. They're hoping that if they drag their feet long enough, they won't have to do anything. But by doing so, they're, in my opinion, committing criminal negligence. So I think we need to hound our congressmen and say, make them do something and do it now. And, a lot of this stuff is going in the study phase. Well, let's study what we need to do. Well, what? We actually have the technology. We know we can put surge blockers on the center taps of these transformers that Patrea was talking about. And we know we put enough of those in series. We've got a good start on this. Those transformers, what a lot of people might not realize, the coils actually fry. I mean, they burn up. And these transformer coils are actually hand wound. Now, they're produced in North Korea and Germany, and they have to be shipped to the United States. The production capacity is at the capacity of building new plants and new facilities and occasional replacement. It's not replace everything in the world kind of capacity if you had it. So if the entire grid was working and everything was taking place, which won't be in a grid down situation, nothing's going to be working. But if the supply chain was there and you order one, it takes 18 months just to get it on your loading dock. The Congressional EMP Task Force that Dr. Peter Pry played a pivotal role in told us that to expect 9 out of 10 people to be dead in 12 months, which is 6 months shy of the 18-month period. Not to mention, without fuel, without electricity, you can't pump fuel. The trucks won't be running. You won't have the banks operating. The websites you order stuff through won't be working. You won't have money in your accounts because accounts are digital. The entire supply chain will be shattered. So how do you even order them? How do you get them? If you get them ordered, how do you get them here? How do you get them installed? Who's going to do the work when everybody's at home, worried about somebody kicking the door down and taking mom and kids? So the situation, So the situation is, if the grid goes down, I don't think it happens. I don't see it happen. But if everything was working, it would take 5 to 10 years to replace these transformers. If everything was working, but without it working, it's like Humpty Dumpty falling off the wall. All the king's horses and all the king's men aren't putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. That's why I like the no second chance part of the name you're working with right now, grid down, no second chance, because I don't think there is a second chance. It's a lot worse than people realize. People like to prep, oh, I'm good for this, I'm good for that. This is one thing you're not good for. You may think you are, but you're really not. We've got to get this grid fixed. We need to get these fuel rods secured and put away somewhere in Yucca Mountain or someplace. I really think the federal government ought to go in and offer deals in Nevada and say, hey, federal government owns almost all Nevada. The state's got some tiny little fraction of land there, and the rest of it is federal. BLM controlled, Bureau of Land Management, in this case, BLM. I think the federal government ought to make them a deal. So, hey, we'll give you back some of this land if you'll just let us put these fuel rods. And, they let us spend all the money to fully develop the facility, billions of dollars. But when it comes time to move stuff in there, okay, you're done spending money here. Now you'll put stuff. No, we got shortchanged on that deal. And the people in Nevada would be safer with that stuff in Nevada, in Yucca Mountain, than they would from the radiation that's going to come out of this stuff and go all over the country and the world. Should these plants go into meltdown. So they're actually safer with this stuff in the mountain in their backyard than they will be in the open air, where they think is downwind from them. So they're mistaken in the perception of their safety. And I really think that needs to be negotiated. That's a whole different matter. But in the meantime, we got to get this grid hardened. We don't. It's going to take time to move all that stuff. We've got to have this grid hardened. We've got to have it hardened now. So these are things that we've got to do. That's why I like your video. That's why I like that you're putting political action there. I'll put some links for some action below this where people can go ahead and take some preliminary action now. So, hey, contact your congressman, and I'll have your links so that people. Now, are your links operative now for people to go in and click or is this going to be after you get your trailer done?
Yes, no, you can go to Grid Down Doc right now. You can buy the video for $5.99. You can go to a part of our website, through the blog, and you being a subscriber, you will be able to send the video.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you'll be able to send those letters to legislators, and then you will be notified when the documentary is complete, and then you'll be able to watch it.
Fantastic, fantastic.
So what we'd like to say is we've done all the work and put everything into the film, the way the letters are made and everything. It's very simple. So there's, as you could say, it's a no-brainer just to go ahead there and say, hey, I want some action, because I realize now that the grid won't be coming up. This is not a blackout. It's a grid down situation. And once people really get that concept, they are really on board. There's not one person I've met politically across the board. It doesn't matter what realm you're in. Everybody wants their bank account to be secure. They want water delivery, which is one of the reasons, like here in California, without water delivery, that grid goes down. That's why we're talking these big numbers would perish, because we don't have a way to grow food here anymore, because we've lost that. In the big city, we've lost that. And it would take so much time for people in the outer area that maybe have some land to get water to that area. It's a big, big dilemma that if people see that picture, they get it. Hey, it's easier for me to just go on to this movie thing here, click, send these letters, and I'm gonna get some action, as opposed to be negligent and just not know about it. But the thing is, they need to know about it. We need to get this film out, because it's got all the answers.
Yeah, you're helping people realize the gravity of the situation and giving them the means to take action. I like that. I try to do that myself, but a good film producer like you has so much more capacity in that area. I really appreciate what you're doing.
So really what needs to happen right now is just go to the website, griddowndoc.com, subscribe, then pay $5.99 to become a bronze subscriber, and then you will have access to various backroom parts of our blog. There's a fair amount of our blog that's available free right now, even if you do not pay for the video in advance, and you won't be able to write your letter to Congress. And then tell your friends. And then I would say, send a blast email and say, you're probably aware I've been concerned about this for a while. You need to get concerned too. The state of our country is at risk, but this can be saved. And please help.
The continuity of our species is at risk. This isn't just the state of our country or even civilization. We're talking, in my opinion, an extinction level event. A lot of people don't appreciate it. They think we're just going back to the 1800s or 1700s. I wish that was all you had to worry about, but it's far worse. And to make it even worse than that, even if you totally trust China and Russia and North Korea and everybody else, and you totally believe that nobody's going to pull a switch or do anything to make this happen, eventually, if we do nothing, which right now is what we're doing is nothing, the sun will get us. There's estimated to be a 12 to 14% chance per decade that we'll have a Carrington level event. The Carrington event was 1859 solar CME. It caused fires in telegraph stations, caused some power lines to catch fire, caused forest fires. A much smaller event would have the same effect today because Earth's magnetosphere, our shield, is dropping. It's dropping fast. The rate at which it's dropping is accelerating. So we're becoming more and more vulnerable to smaller storms. And you can get a large CME, even in a solar minimum, even in a grand solar minimum. And sometimes it's typical that you come out of that with a real punch from the sun. So if people think that everything is good and they're trying to use cognitive dissonance to dismiss all this, they need to wake up, because we are at grave risk here and something needs to be done. Things can be done. The good news is things can be done. The technology is here. The laws are here. The executive order is there. It's just the deep state's dragging their feet. So we need to beat on the congressman to make these agencies get up and do their job. Do the job that they ought to be doing instead of the job they want to do. That's what we got to do. And you're at the forefront. You're the tip of the spear of making that happen. I appreciate it.
I think too, if NERC, if people don't know what NERC is, that's the North American Reliability Corporation. Well, they just absolutely are a private entity, and they want to have the rules. They are making the rules, and they don't want anyone to step in. And they're the last bastion that really polices themselves. So there was at one time when you could drive a car and you didn't have to have turn signals or brakes or seat belts. Probably had to have brakes, but you know, it was just very lax when it first started. And there came a point when, hey, too many people are getting injured. We have to have law, seat belts come in, tail lights, turn signals. The aviation industry, there was a point where people came in and said, we have to have these laws instigated. So you look at, even in the hospitals, there are certain regulations now for safety for the people. And this energy sector is policing itself. So it's making its own laws. And that's one of the big problems, is that they don't want to step in and take the liability for this, and they don't want to take the responsibility, and they have sort of a way out by just saying, all we do is provide that your lights come on and that your bill is fair and that the equipment is safe. But they are skipping the big problem that we need protection now, because our military, our whole country, our banking system, all our hospitals, our water, everything now runs on that grid. So they've stepped into a position without meaning to, that they now have to take that responsibility. We say it's their fiduciary responsibility. Once you're that important to a country, that our military is depending on that, that's where our military goes to juice up. And so our military has a few weeks of generators, but after that, what happens? So we feel once people get this, they'll realize that this private corporation needs to be in focus with the people.
Right. So the National Electric Reliability Corporation and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission are in bed with each other, and it's got it set up. They got such an incestuous relationship set up that it's a point where the private corporation has to propose the legislation and regulations to go to FERC, and FERC rubber stamps them. So NERC proposes, FERC approves. So NERC gets to, they're the fox that gets to watch the hen house. It's very incestuous, and it's a terrible thing to have a situation like that. In fact, I did a video about how our government is actually run, and I talked about the relationships between regulatory agencies and the companies they're supposed to regulate, and how bad it is. This is probably the worst single case of the whole scenario of that situation. And it's really, really bad, and should never have gotten to that point. But that's what we got right now, and that's why we're kind of in a quandary. That system needs to be changed, revamped. But this is the most critical system we have in America. It's our power grid. It's our most vulnerable system. It's our Achilles heel. It goes down. The problems are going to be so bad that you can't imagine. And yet the probability is it will. If we don't do anything, it's going to go down. There's no way around it. Eventually, it's going to go down. It's just a matter of time. And we can fix it.
Yeah, because it's an old system now. We're playing catch up a lot because we just keep, we have more technology. We just throw more on, and so it's very wonky. Nobody's ever stopped and said, hey, okay, we're going to have X amount of usage in here now with all this technology. Let's beef it up to that. They've just kind of been like you might do at home. You know, you have a power switch and you just keep plugging more things in it, and then you get some new stuff and you try to get another extension cord and plug more stuff in and another power supply. And that's not the way things should be run at this point. And now, just to add on to the FERC and NERC problem again, is that NERC is making those laws. You made it very, you brought up a really good point. NERC is going, oh, here's what the laws ought to be, and handing those to FERC, which is the federal part. And so FERC should, and there's just no way FERC should be listening to those laws and what are the things that they're the recommendations, because they're going to benefit NERC. And NERC plays another game where they just like keep saying, oh, okay, we call them on this, and they'll go, okay, we'll look into it, and then they'll go, we're going to start a new thing, and we'll look into this, and we'll get back to you. And then they take 5 years, and then so they say, okay, we see this, and then just about the time you think they're going to do something, like a law gets passed or whatnot, then when that new law comes in, they start all over again, and they go, okay, now with this new law, we'll look into that. And then it takes them another 5 years, and then by then you have a new head of FERC or NERC, and it's a revolving game of how the energy company can get out of actually doing anything. And I think our film explains that so well.
Good.
That people get it, that we don't want another report. We've had plenty of reports. Dr. William Graham has been the head of the EMP Commission years ago, with back to Reagan. And so we know how to fix this. We know what the problems are, and we don't need any more evaluation on it. So every time we keep accepting, saying, oh, okay, they're going to look into it. People, that's where they're catching us, is that because people aren't aware. Once they see our film, they'll say, I got it. I'm not falling for that trick again.
Well, the sad thing is also they put out a lot of articles, news releases. They get on video themselves and promote, hey, it's okay, it's not as bad as you think scenario. But usually what you will find is the people behind those studies and the things they're putting out aren't even engineers. They're politicians, they're bureaucrats, and they're out there talking as if they have authority. We have the engineers on our side. I am an electrical engineer myself, and we got tons of engineers and weapon system specialists, people that understand things like Dr. Graham. Dr. Graham has a PhD in electrical engineering. He's also a Soviet weapon systems analyst, expert, and he's also the world's topmost expert in EMP. And furthermore, he got briefed by the Russian generals after the wall fell, when Russia split apart, that they had EMP super weapons that could put out in excess of 200,000 volts per meter. And our military or radiation systems are only good for putting out like 50,000 or being protected for that. So we're going to have to wrap up here in about 10 minutes on this, or 5 or 10 minutes, because I'm getting a notification from Zoom here. They're trying to get me to upgrade my system. So I think we've covered most of the ground we need to cover. People know that the agencies are dragging their feet. You've got a website they can go to where they can help you guys develop your film. They can see the trailers. They can share this information, get the letters out. I'll put links below for all this stuff on my channel too. You guys are doing a fantastic job. And I might want to end a recording session here in a minute. Just let's chat for a couple minutes. So
let me just add one quick thing to the recording. The other part that we're providing for your $5.99 once you buy the film is you'll have this legislative campaign to be able to have these letters written to your lawmakers. Number two, a portion of our proceeds are going to go towards 501c3 organizations. I call them EMP warriors that are on the ground to be able to fight. You know, these guys such as Save the Grid Coalition, Mike Mabey's organization, Impact America. These organizations have been fighting. And there's also a way that you can pay on a monthly basis. And then so your second payment portion will be going, directly to these. And the reason that's important is in our legislative letters, we are telling them we are going to be watching you. We are going to be following up, and we will know the number of people that have been have gotten to a particular legislator, and we will be in their back pocket letting them know that they need to pass these bills that are being proposed. In the past, we've had great legislation proposed, especially by Bob Hall in Texas, and it's been voted down. The GRID Act was voted down by the Senate, like 9 years ago. So to be able to stay on top of these legislators is a big thing. The third thing we're providing is some information about survival with some books, saying what you should do to think about your food supply, to think about water, to think about, fuel, etc. So you're getting several extras for supporting the film.
All right. Patrea, you got any closing words?
To say, it's much less expensive to go out and do these letters and get some action, use our film, as opposed to running out and buying survival food. That's expensive, but you know what? You're going to have to do that, and you're going to have to figure that out, and that's a big hardship on time and expense and money and where you're going to go with your bug out bag, but you need one or the other. You either really need to get your survival stuff together for your family and friends and loved ones, or just get behind this film. It doesn't take very much we're making it so easy. You just punch some keys in, give it to people that you know, and let's protect our country. It's just too easy for it to be taken down, and it's just too easy for us to protect it.
Bingo. I agree. So I thank you for all that. Also, people need to pay attention, because the tensions with China, we may not have all the luxury of time all these studies are doing. Time is running out. Something needs to happen. It needs to happen right now. So everyone on my channel, I highly encourage you to go check out their website, check out their links, and really support what they're doing. And of course, you can support my channel by supporting my links below too. I appreciate everyone for watching. I want to thank everyone for watching, and we'll have more on these and other topics with the grid situation coming up to you real soon. So I thank everyone for this. So stay tuned.